We are back here again with Ravens Way podcast episode 11. Just wrapped up mini camp, but before we get into it, Voss, how are we doing today? How's the vibes?
Vibes are pretty good. Full attendance at minicamp. That's good to see. Not everybody was participating, but 52 of the players were participating as much as they could. One wasn't. Vibes are good. I really enjoyed Marlon Humphrey's comments at the podium this afternoon. He was talking about we're in a championship window and let's go win a Super Bowl, and we have the talent to do so finally. I really enjoyed hearing that from him because I think they're putting a sense of urgency on this season that they maybe haven't in years past with the Ravens Way stability model maybe impacting that. And it was really good to hear Marlon say, windows are elusive. You're in a window. You think it's going to last a long time. It doesn't. Now is the time. Now is the time. And that's my mentality for the season for sure.
Definitely. And, that that chart earlier that was in our chat, the upper left quadrant was teams were all in. And, the Ravens weren't farthest in the upper left quadrant, but they were in it. So
they're fourth, pretty much, right? It was the AFC East and then the Ravens.
Yep. So by all accounts, they are somewhat all in. And like we said, why be halfway all in and not bring in another two pass defenders, in my opinion, and fill out this roster. But we've been talking about it every podcast, so we'll go ahead.
Yeah.
And, we'll hold off on that.
Yeah, we got a couple other notes coming out of minicamp, as expected, but worth touching on at least. Roquan Smith is going to be the green dot wearer. You think that's going to change much on the defense?
The green dot is one of the most overrated things that Ravens fans keep track of. It's just a person that relays the calls between the defensive coordinator to the team. I think it's pretty overrated, and I don't think that's going to change much.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I personally would prefer us having a safety because I do like personnel packages with more defensive backs on the field. But after you pay a guy like Roquan $20 million, you're not going to take him off the field. $100 million, I should say. 16th highest paid defender in the league. A couple other thoughts before we jump into the injury updates, because that's probably one of the main takeaways from minicamp. Adrian Amos joined Frank Clark and Leonard Floyd as pass defenders that the Ravens could have maybe used to sign for $4, $5, $6 million on a one-year deal. I was a little bit surprised they weren't willing to come up to some of these prices after already, having 4 or 5 contracts with void years and being a little bit more all in than they have been.
Yeah, that was I think Clark was probably off the table because of the background stuff, but Floyd being I think it was $9 million, and then Amos for $4 million. It sounded like they were in on Amos, and then they just kind of backed off at the last second.
Day before. They said the day before he visited Baltimore again.
Yeah.
And then the next day he went up to the Meadowlands.
Yeah. Clearly, I don't think their interest was as strong, or he wouldn't have left that building without a deal. But I felt like that, that would have been a nice signing, $4 million. I feel like they probably could have went over that and did like we did with Odell Beckham and kind of stumped the Jets again. But, there's still people out there, and it's getting very thin, though, on the pass defender market. So there needs to be a little bit of urgency here if they do want to sign someone. They can't just wait till July 31st to sign an edge rusher, to sign Vince Beagle and Daryl Worley and call it a day. I don't think they have that. I think they need to still get at least someone halfway decent.
I think it's Justin Houston. It's always been Justin Houston. He complements what they need as far as, not demanding a large snap share, but giving that veteran presence that can still be productive. I really hope that DaCosta is not taking the right player, right price attitude with Houston. He should be taking the right player, the right fit, and I do think he's 100% the right fit. So we'll see. But if they end up, going into week 1 without anybody to help bolster this pass defense that lost people at every level, I think that would be a mistake.
Definitely. Good.
The only other note I have before we get into the injury updates, just PFF's pumping out these group rankings, player rankings, position rankings, and I did think it was interesting that Sycamore, I think his name is, put out today the receiver rankings, which includes both the wide receivers and the tight ends. And a lot of people keep making this point that look what Patrick Mahomes did with lesser weapons. They actually ranked Kansas City's receiving talent as 11th and the Ravens 15th. So I thought that was interesting.
I'm not a homer by any means, but Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, MVS. I don't know. I guess Kelsey is the clear and cut above that maybe puts him over the top, but I would take our receiving weapons over the Chiefs. But
I would as well.
I guess there's some sort of factor for scheming or quarterback play. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the guy, he even wrote in there, this is probably going to raise some eyebrows putting the Chiefs this high. But, they're deep. I do think I would take the Ravens pass catchers over the Chiefs. I would definitely take the Chiefs O-line over the Ravens. They have number 1, number 2 O-line. The Ravens are close, probably number 4, number 5 type O-line. Mahomes is better than Lamar. So what does that mean? At the end of the day, the Ravens defense better be better than the Chiefs. I mean, they won 5 straight. I'm sorry, they made 5 straight. They've hosted 5 straight AFC Championship games. So put the bullseye on them. Stop playing around. Ready to jump into these injury updates?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Off the top, Rashad Bateman was reportedly ahead of schedule. They took the screw out of his foot. Apparently, the hole where the screw was giving him difficulty. They gave him a cortisone shot. Level of concern. What is your level of concern?
I would say 6.5 out of 10. Just because he hasn't played a full season yet, so it's not like there's something I can go off of. All we've known is that Rashad Bateman has been injured and yet to play a full season, so I'm mildly concerned. John Harbaugh can keep saying sweet nothings at the podium. We've seen that before a lot of times where we saw it last year with Bateman, where he said he was fine, and then a week later he was having season-ending mood sprain surgery. So,
yeah. Rashad Perryman redux?
You saw that photo I put
there. Yeah, I mean, I think that's about right. I mean, I don't think it's raising alarm bells. What do they call it? Whatever. An alarm, like it's a huge problem. But that foot injury is a tricky one. I mean, we've seen players, that's probably, the way modern medicine is advanced, I think that's worse than Achilles and ACL. Not a trifecta knee, but just like a one ligament knee injury. So a little bit concerning. On the bright side, the Ravens have wide receiver depth for the first time in many years. You got Aguilar and Duvernay as your 4-5. So I don't think you need to make a move, but I am a little concerned. Moving on to Pancake Pat Ricard. Hip surgery was announced today. Was it yesterday? Nobody had any, nobody caught wind of that until then. He is apparently going to start the season on PUP, or the training camp on the PUP, officially unable to perform list. A lot of questions how he fit in Monken's offense as well. Any thoughts on Pat and, what I think he's gone after this year for sure, $4 million cap savings, but what are you going to do at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would have cut him in the middle of the surgery, but
like the surgeon.
Yeah.
Ronnie Stanley did not practice the last 2 days after getting his foot stepped on, but before he got his foot stepped on, he said this is the best offseason he's had in a few. He's able to train instead of rehab, which is, I think, a good development. if Ronnie can get closer to where he was in 2019, that the better.
Yeah. I guess from here on out, Ronnie Stanley's probably just not gonna do anything till training camp. I guess that's the way he's gonna roll. And I guess I'm gonna be fine with that. I think he's fine. In terms of injury status, I think he's fine. But I think from here on out, he's gonna be like a training camp only guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that to me is a positive development, positive injury news, because there was one point where we thought maybe he would never get close to where he was. So, two young cornerbacks are injured at the worst possible time for them. Pepe Williams is out with an undisclosed injury. We don't know what it is. Harbaugh said that Pepe is hopeful to be ready for training camp, which means he's probably going to be ready by October. Basically, if Harbaugh is doubtful about a guy returning sooner than later, it doesn't bode well. And the other one is Jalen Armour-Davis. Apparently, he has a hip injury. He should be back for camp, but he's really becoming injury prone. I mean, he had a slew of injuries at Bama, and I don't know what you can expect from these guys. This is the time you need young cornerbacks to develop, and this is the time they should be. And two of the guys you were counting on are banged up. Not good.
Yeah, we got Iman Marshall and James Roche between the two of them. So, yeah, I really am starting to think that the Ravens picked the wrong corners in that 2022 class in the 4th round. There are plenty of other ones available that are proven to be decent starters, and I feel like the Bama bias got to EDC a little bit, but I'm not going to call it quits yet. But I think that's, in terms of concern level, it's a 7 for me, maybe 7.5. I'm pretty concerned. I mean, it is June, so this isn't like it's August and they're injured. It's June, so just more of the reason to bring in Marcus Peters back.
Yeah, I mean, we're on record both recommending that move completely. I like Armour-Davis's talent if he can stay healthy and get those reps and get that muscle memory back. But he's missed so much time. Pepe, I just don't think, to take him over a guy like Woolen when Woolen was available, and McCollum, I believe.
Yep.
Why would you take the guy that's already close to being a finished product and is lower on consensus draft boards versus the two guys that have, the traits to develop? I mean, people say we got to develop the young guys. Well, you can, if they already have good technique, what are you going to develop at that point, So anyway, it's water under the bridge at this point, but I think we're in agreement that cornerback remains a need. Another injury that was identified today that has me concerned, which maybe is flying on the radar a little bit, Tyus Bowser with the knee. Now, he popped his Achilles, if I remember correctly, right? That was the injury.
Yeah.
And then he came back and played the second half of the season, and now he's working off to the side because he has a knee issue. Again, they're chipping away at the confidence in the pass defense with that one.
Yeah, that I saw that, and that concerns me. If we were to lose him in any capacity, we were talking about Tavius Robinson, our 4th round pick, who is new to football, as our 3rd edge rusher. So more of the reason to bring in another pass rusher.
Yeah, and the last injury was to J.K. Dobbins' ego and his wallet. He is holding in. He admitted that he's holding in. Let's dig into this a little bit because we touched on it the last couple episodes, but now we have some material facts to dissect.
Yeah, I get it that he wants to get paid, but at the same time, I feel like the way he's going around about this is terrible. faking an injury, unless that's a report that the team's putting out, just to kind of save grace a little bit. But faking an injury is a pretty low, that's pretty low to get paid. If you're healthy, I think you should be out there. And to me, it seems like he's healthy and he's just, like you said, holding in. So I'm not a fan of it, and I am team draft a running back 2024 draft, and J.K. Dobbins can go somewhere else because the reality is he's replaceable.
He is replaceable, and he's not a difference maker. And I think that people pretended he was a difference maker to try to paper over DaCosta's poor ability to surround Lamar with playmakers the last couple of years, which he has fessed up to and owned up to, and I respect that DaCosta did that. Average lifespan of running back 6 years. He had a ton of mileage coming out of Ohio State. He's got maybe 2-3 more good years. Every single time you see a running back go down, I challenge anybody, go look at the backup running backs on the Titans and the yards per carry that they managed when Derrick Henry was hurt. Go look at Deontay Foreman and what he did when Christian McCaffrey got traded. It's just, they're replaceable. It's a dependent position. You might get a 10% boost, an extra half a yard to carry with a top 10 guy versus a vet min guy. To me, it's not worth paying. And to now have this guy taking a stand and Dobbins, Harbaugh didn't dance around it too much. He said, we want the guys out here. Monken, somebody asked him, are you going to slow down the offense so the guys that aren't practicing can catch up? And he was like, hell no, F no, Go get on your iPad and learn the playbook. That's not, if you're going to hold in and not show up to practice, it's not my job to help you learn the offense. So I really think this is Bush League from Dobbins. And it makes me question, time after time we've had these guys, they have trade requests. They, want hold out for better contracts. What is the point of taking on these Red Star personalities? I understand you don't want to take a guy with a criminal record or a record of domestic violence. Totally agree with that. But to say we don't like this guy because we don't like George Pickens because he's a diva, and then we do like J.K. Dobbins because he's a hard worker, and then he becomes a diva, like what's the benefit there? I just don't see it.
Definitely. We talked about it last time, so I don't have much else to add besides may he enjoy his career somewhere else.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I am. I wouldn't even mind trading him right now and let Justice Hill spring loose for 6 yards a carry on 200 carries this year, because you actually have wide receivers that are spreading the defense out and the running backs have a little room to work with.
Yeah, and add on top of that, just to make sure I keep my prediction in, Leonard Fournette for the vet minimum. We will see.
Let's go. All right, let's move on to stock up, stock down. I think you can only take away so much from minicamp, but there are some winners and some losers, and we've been monitoring the reports, watching the highlights, and trying to add, see what we can glean. And my first stock up is Ardarius Washington. I liked him coming into the league. I was worried. I thought it was a terrible decision to roster 3 special teams only inside backers and put him on the practice squad last year, and I was worried he's going to get poached, and he didn't, thankfully. And he's really showing up. He's like intercepting balls, breaking up passes pretty much every day the last couple of days. And with Pepe and Armour Davis out, he's got a real opportunity to maybe grab that nickel job.
Definitely. And if the Ravens move to a more cover 4 system, we've seen guys that are 5'9" and 5'10" really thrive as corners in the system. So I agree. I think his stock's up, and I really hope he does grab that corner, slot corner and nickelback position. I think that'd be a huge boost, and maybe calm some of the worry about corner.
Yeah, the other guy is Brandon Stevens, who is also benefiting from these other guys being out. He apparently was going to transition to safety. Now he's playing, and according to was it Schaefer? I don't know if it was Schaefer or Zareback, but he's kind of like the front runner for the nickel job right now. You know, he probably is more talented than some of the other players. I think he's a stock up. You think you agree with that?
Yeah. No, I would. I think he's stuck up.
All right, who you got? Give me your stock up.
I'm gonna go with number 88.
Yes, sir.
88. Number 88 in the field, number 1 in my heart. He had a catch today over our highest paid middle linebacker. A one-handed catch. I think it was pretty sweet. A few people that have been there said that he's been catching everything thrown his way. And it, in my opinion, it shows on tape at Iowa State. It's showing now. It showed last year in the game that he played. He really did have some strong hands. So, I don't want to say anything too crazy, but I'll take him over Likely, in my opinion. I know that probably won't happen because he's a little similar to Mark Andrews than Likely is to Mark Andrews. So, variation in the skill set, but you got any thoughts on him, Foss?
Yeah, no, I definitely had him on my list as stock up. He's been making plays pretty much every day, and that anytime I don't think Ray Lewis was giving up a whole lot of touchdowns in minicamp to second-year tight ends. So if you go up and make a one-handed grab for a touchdown over Roquan, that deserves a stock up. The other thing is, to me, I think that his direct competitor for snaps is Ricard. I think that's who those kind of two go hand in hand, because So with Ricard, being banged up and missing time, I think that gives Kohler an opportunity to grab something. My next stock up is Big Salah, the was it 4th round pick? I don't recall. Anyway, Harbaugh said today he's in the mix. He's in the mix to be a starter, and that probably has something to do with another player that's going to be on a stock down a little bit later. But Zeitler was effusive in his praise for Salah: athletic, agile, hard worker, smart kid. More than I expected from a guy that wasn't really on my radar before the draft to now come in here. I mean, it's not like they don't have other guys, Simpson and Falele apparently. But, if he's running with the ones, that's pretty good. That's pretty damn good for a rookie, a late round rookie.
Yeah. I'm pretty impressed that he's out there with the ones. And, like you said, a little disappointing about someone we're going to mention the stock down. But it is early, and the pads have yet to come on, so we got to do a little blocking on actual people before we can cement them. But I am impressed by I have a few nicknames for him: Big Sal, Big Al, and there's one more, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm impressed.
No doubt. You have another stock up? I have 2 more. You have any more?
Stock up.
Ojabo. Give me your thoughts on Ojabo, because I think he's probably the winner of minicamp.
Yeah. I mean, he's shown pretty much everything he showed in college is that he has really flashy pass rushing moves, and the spin move and the swim, like all of his moves are great. I just want to see what he looks like in the run defense and the ability to sink his hips and really get into a tackle when the ball comes his way. I think that's something he's really struggled at in college. But no, definitely stock up. I think that's huge. I think he probably will be 10 sack guy. I mean, I don't feel like that's too lofty to say.
Yeah, I'm bullish on Ojabo. I think he's been beaten up on McCary pretty good in at minicamp by all reports. Good article by Bo Smolka at Pressbox, by the way, on Ojabo and Owe. I think he published it today. And getting back to high school, he's got high school pictures of them and all kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah, I think he replaces Houston pretty seamlessly. The question is who replaces JPP and is Bowser healthy? But my final stock up, and it's not a huge, 50-point rally, but Travis Jones. Preston says that he's reshaped his body. He has, redistributed the weight to the areas where you can generate power. And I'm excited about him. I really am. Defensive tackles have really become a premium position the last couple of years because there just isn't a great supply of them coming into the draft. I think the Ravens got a steal with him. I think Michael Pierce also is playing well. But, I think by the combination of Pierce coming back for a full season, hopefully, knock on wood, Jones taking the second-year jump, I think the defensive line's in a decent spot. I think the outside backers are in a decent spot. As long as the secondary is tightened up a little bit. So I just wanted to mention Travis Jones. I thought he was a stock up for me too. Anybody, you have any more stock ups?
Stock up. I want to go with Trenton Simpson. I know he's a rookie and he's probably not going to contribute a lot, but he really does look like he can fly around the field and go sideline to sideline very quick. And probably doesn't get more than 1%, 2% of snaps a game at linebacker, but I really do think that he can be a really explosive special teamer.
Yeah, he looked good in that picture they took. Roquan looked small in that picture they took, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. But anyway, let's go on to stock down if you're ready.
Yeah.
All right. I think the first guy, obviously, is Ben Cleveland. I mean, I was optimistic that this was his time to, take that third-year leap like so many previous mid-round Ravens interior linemen have taken. And apparently, whether his heart isn't in the game or he's just not talented enough, it's just not happening for him. I mean, looks like he's maybe third string right now. So not great.
Yeah, it's disappointing. At the time, I kind of had a little bit of favoritism towards Quinn Miners, who went to the Broncos. So, just another example of a Harbaugh favorite that did not work out.
I just wish that they would lock Harbaugh in the closet for the draft preparation because I think the team will be better. Next up, on my stock down, unless you want to go now, you have a stock down on the tip of your tongue?
I mean, it's two of them, but Prochet and Wallace, it's time. Get them out.
So Wallace, I don't think necessarily he's doing anything wrong, but when they go out and pick up a Laquan Treadwell, after all, what do they have? Like 15 wide receivers in camp, and they make that move. It makes me think that Wallace's spot or how they see him, and can he be the wide receiver 6 on this roster? I do think there's 6. There's room for 6 on this roster for sure. You can do 6 wide receivers, 4 running backs, 9 linemen, and still get to 25 on offense. Prochet, I feel bad for the guy in a way. I really do. I mean, he does everything right. He works hard. He just doesn't have enough talent. He just doesn't have – he can't be developed any further. He's dropping balls. He's dropping touchdowns. They throw him a deep ball, and he can't accelerate and get underneath it. He just doesn't have NFL caliber talent. And it's nothing against the guy. I think he's really maximized his ability. If I was a wide receiver, I'm not an NFL I don't have NFL caliber talent either, So it's not he did something wrong, but I do think the writing's on the wall with him because it seems like he's getting frustrated and throwing water bottles on the sideline when after dropping touchdowns and all kind of stuff this week.
Yeah, the little engine that couldn't.
Pretty much. You got another stock down?
Stock down, man. I can't really think of any besides like JK, just because he's not showing up. But I don't know. He's probably still gonna get his snaps. Falele, that's the other one I can think of.
You think so?
The fact that they moved him around to guard, it's concerning to me, and it's very weird. I'm all for position versatility, but I'm also for not blowing up a person's development. And I feel like them trying to fit him at guard is the wrong choice. But clearly, he's not making it a tackle right now.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope we talked about it last week, so I'm not going to dive into it again. But I'd like to see him take a tackle. Yeah, I have a stock down with a question mark player, and I'll give you my rationale. You tell me if I'm being too negative or I'm being reasonable. Rock Ya-Sin. We have reports that undrafted rookie Tariq Black and vet minimum journeyman Andy Isabella are beating him deep. And he also dropped an easy pick, a room service pick, which has been the knock on him. That's the thing. Like, he's pretty good in coverage. He's really good at run support. He's pretty good in coverage, but he doesn't have good hands. I think our buddy Chala, our Twitter buddy Chala, loves the guy, which makes me a little skeptical off the bat. But I don't know. I think he's an average corner, like a league average cornerback 2, cornerback 3, not better than average. So I don't know. You think I'm being too harsh on the guy?
No, that's what I said when we signed him. I said he's a low end 2, high end 3 type of corner. So it's early. Him getting beat by UDFAs is not a good sign. But this is all the more for the reason why we need to get another cornerback in here.
It's tough on the corners because they can't really get physical with the receivers at the catch point because they don't want contact. But, not necessarily what you want to see. That's pretty much what I have from minicamp. Do you have any closing thoughts on camp before we go on to the questions or whatever?
Yeah. No, that's it.
All right, so you got the question, right? Where was it from?
Yeah. Where do you rank the Ravens among AFC contenders?
It's a complicated question. Go ahead. Let me. I think they're clearly behind KC and Cincinnati, just on pedigree. And we went through it last week, and we talked about the odds makers and all that stuff. And Cincinnati just does have a little bit more juice in the tank. I think they're in the second tier. And I think Buffalo's also in the second tier. Like, I don't think Buffalo's that special. But I also think Miami's in the second tier. The Chargers are in the second tier. I wouldn't say they're number 3. I just think they're in the second tier. If they want to get in that first tier, they got to open up the checkbook and take that $11 million or $9 million, whatever they have in cap space, and add some pass defenders. And then they'd be ready to go toe-to-toe with the big 2. I think it's a big 2 in the AFC right now.
Definitely. I would probably put us around number 4 behind Buffalo, KC, and Cincinnati. I think Buffalo's very deep at edge, and they have a solid secondary, and I think that just gives them a little more juice over us. So I still think this is a 12-win team, but in terms of contenders and making the deep playoff push when your cornerback 2 is down and your your edge 5 is down, I don't know. I'm not too confident about that.
I think Buffalo has a better defense than the Ravens. So the question is, can the Ravens have a better offense than them, right? They have the potential. They have a better offensive line for sure. I think they have a deeper cast of receivers. But Miami's a dark horse, man. People are sleeping on Miami. I'm telling you, they if they can keep Tua upright, they really have difference makers at every single position group.
Definitely. Are you putting any money on their Super Bowl odds?
I haven't got to yet, but I should. I don't know if I trust Tua to win a Super Bowl.
AFC Championship appearance. Can you do that one?
Yeah,
FanDuel.
do that. Yeah, you can do that. Who's going to win the AFC? Yeah, you can do that. I mean, I don't know who else are you looking at in the AFC. I think Cleveland's in the second tier.
Yeah.
And I think the Jets are in the second tier too. So like the Ravens they got their work cut out for them, man. I mean, the quarterbacks that are in the AFC, there's probably out of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, I think like 8 are in the AFC probably.
Yeah.
It's a tough hill to climb.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that just about does us for here tonight, boss. Not a lot going on. Just wrapping up mini camp. And then now we have a month break for the players until training camp. I'll definitely be out at one of those open training camps, and hopefully I can get a little more closer look. I know they're anti-video, which is, I guess.
They tell you when you can. They say, "All right, you can take video." They give you like a brief little window.
Right.
Try to get to joint practice. They're joint practicing with the Commanders, right?
Yeah.
If you can get to joint practice, they give you more accessibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, boss, you got anything else to add?
No, man, that's it. We're gonna digest what we've seen. We got about 5 weeks now until camp kicks off, and they've had the players on the field, the ones that want to participate, the 52 that want to participate on the field, or the 89 that want to participate on the field, and they're going to look and see what they did, and they're going to devise the schemes around what they've seen. Second year for McDonald. Hopefully he makes some modifications, and I'm all in on Monken. I wouldn't even mind it if he got a promotion up the food chain, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe next year. Hopefully. Him or McDonald would be okay with me.
I like Monken, man. He gives them. He's like that one piece they were missing when they got 4 guys that are all kind of like conservative, and then you get like the 5th guy that can be kind of like the think outside the box, bring a little different perspective. So that's what I like about him more than anything.
Definitely. But we'll go ahead and get it out of here. Everybody have a good night, and we will see you next time. Peace.